All right, I'm working on the brakes right now. As you can see, I've got the brake lines from the wheels. These are stainless steel reinforced hoses that I use. And it goes into the brake lines here, which go into a T. I've got this one up here, which goes up to the frame-mounted connection up here, which goes directly to the hand lever. So this line comes directly from the hand lever, comes down to here, and there'll be a valve right here. It's a residual backflow valve, and I'll explain that when I get it in here. And that loops down to here. And that's pretty much the brake setup. The way I do the lines, I've got this contraption here. I think I bought this at Eastwood, I believe. It's a crimper. It's got numerous heads on the turret here. So it's got this flattening one, so you just snug this up, and that gets it flush, and then you tighten her down. This first one creates a bubble flare. The second one actually does the crimp. So what you end up with is it's a flare, but the bubble flare, this would basically be a round bead, then pushes the end in, so it's actually inverted on itself. So I'll go ahead and get the proper bend in this, and then the other end here is going to be a single flare because there's a special little fitting that goes on here that a double flare doesn't work on. So let me get this ready. Okay, so I got the special little bends in here. This is all done kind of by eye. There's no real, I don't have a template. I know you're disappointed. So first the nut goes on, and then this little ferrule goes on here. And hopefully I'll have enough room to get this. Oh, it just fits. Okay. I thought it was going to be pretty close. Yep, that'll work. I know just about where to get the handle. Tighten her down. And we'll just put a single flare on there, and I'll show you why. Because this little deal here fits right up against there like that. In fact, I think I'm going to make the flare just a little bit bigger. That looks a little skimpy. That's a lot of work for just a little bit, wasn't it? Okay, that's a little bit better. So it covers the diameter of this little grommet. And then this fastens onto the one-way valve here. Just like that. And there's the meeting end, the other end is over there. This is a 10-pound valve, so what this does is it holds 10 pounds of pressure on the brake system at all times. It allows brake fluid to flow one way, but it restricts the flow back. So what that does is it keeps the slave cylinders on the rotors, it keeps them in close contact with the rotor. That way, because of the difference in volume between the brake lever, the master, and the slaves, you'd have to pump the brakes about 3 times to have good brakes. This makes sure that as soon as you grab the lever, you have brakes. So that's what this is for. Very common in the trike world that you use these valves, and I get these out of California from the brakeman. These are typically used in race cars. And what it does in race cars is it makes sure as the linings and everything wear down that you've always got positive braking, because you don't want to be driving around the track in a race car and not have brakes. That would probably be not good. And we'll get you in here real close. Okay, so I've got this thing here that I test these. I test every single one before I do anything. And I want them to be somewhere between 5 and 8 pounds is what I usually adjust them for. So what I do here is I just keep cranking on this until I start to see bubbles. And there we go. And it's at 8 pounds right there. So you can see at 8 pounds it's feeding back, but as soon as I get down below 8, right there, no bubbles. So that passes the test. And I do have to, a lot of times I have to take them apart and clean them and make sure that the spring that's in there is in good shape and everything. Okay, the backflow valve is in place, and I always put it here where it's really easy to get to, because if the brakes down the road, they're dragging or they're not adequate, I send the owner a new one of these and I recalibrate it to fit whatever conditions happening. And I try to make this really easy to get to. You just pull the storage tray out and you go directly to it. So you can do a swap really quickly. You only have to loosen these two things, pull this out of there, stick the new one in, and you're done. I used to have them underneath here and they're much harder to get at. So I really try to get them up here where it's easy to get to. The extra terminal block here kind of cramped my style here just a little bit. I got it to work. This one here is actually live whenever the key's on. This one here is hooked to the fog light system, so he can switch whatever he hooks to here, he can turn on and off. So that's kind of a little extra bonus I provided here for him. So I'm going to go ahead and bleed the brakes, and we'll go through that. Bleeding brakes on this is really a slam dunk. This goes very, very easily. All right, I lowered the bike down a little bit. I'll just do this caliper first, and then I'll do the other side. Just loosen this up a little bit. I have this hose I made up. It's I think this is like surgical tubing. And on the end here's a rubber hose, and inside of it's a piece of brake line, so it holds this 90-degree. And that works out kind of nice. I stick it on here, loop behind here, and then I bring this up over the mirror. And well, it's pretty full, so we'll bleed a little bit here. So it takes a little bit to prime the master sometimes. Part of what's going on here is it's actually moving the pistons on the brake calipers out. So it takes a lot of fluid to get that part done. But I think it's getting pretty close. I can feel it in the lever. And as you notice, all you have to do is pump. You don't have to do anything else, because that residual pressure valve, it acts like a speed bleeder. Exact same thing. It only allows the fluid to go one way. And I think we're pretty close, because I got brake fluid coming out of the hose there. So now I could just do this forever, because it's pumping in a big circle right now. I'll make sure there's no bubbles. You would not have to set up a deal like this. You could actually just have a hose hooked up to the caliper and just basically do a total loss type of deal. Okay, I went to every single joint and verified there's no leaks. And these are just lightly snug. That's it. You don't ever want to tighten those too much. So there, that's done. She's a little spongy, which is normal. Once I drive it, this kind of firms up. And right there, I can tell already we're going to have really good brakes. Yeah, this is normally adjustable. Once I get done with this, the adjustment no longer works. That's important. There's a shim that's in here, so I get maximum throw on this. Because we want to make sure that we have more than enough brake, not short. So there's a shim in here, so it kind of disables this whole function here, and it does make a little bit longer reach, but no one has complained. And the brakes will be just great when we get done here. So that is it. That's it for the front end brake system. So tomorrow I'm going to do the rear brakes, and I think that's all I got left until my painter comes back. Oh, and I got the rear tire, which I'm waiting for. Of course, once you know if they're back ordered. So that'll be another couple days.